Earl Mason.
And good afternoon and welcome to Inside Sports Talk Radio on this Monday in Power 95. It's May 22nd. I'm Ian Rollins along with my co-host, Mr. Earl Basin. Good afternoon to you, sir. Hello, Mr. Basin. Oh, you're not answering. I was trying to call you Mr. Good afternoon, Earl.
Good afternoon, Ian. How are you?
I'm fine, thank you, sir.
Good, good.
Oh, you answered.
good.
You answered. I'm sorry you fell for it.
No problem. No
Not a problem?
No, I can do sir. I ain't getting a mister.
So, okay, I'll leave that in there. How's things? How was your weekend?
Very good, actually. Got to see some of our top swimmers. Obviously, we all know Lamont Marshall broke the 3,000 meter record in Jamaica in an invitational 3,000 meter race. We had tennis. We had all sorts of different sports. We had something different from the sport of dressage, which they had what they called a road show. So in the morning, they had a show at, I want to say, Spicelands. Yes, Spicelands. In the afternoon, they moved to Inwood Stables in Shelley Bay, and they accumulated scores and came out with division winners that way.
Okay,
Yeah.
fair enough. Fair enough.
But interesting weekend. Looking forward to this week and the weekend. Obviously, we know on Wednesday, big race, big day.
108th annual Appleby Bermuda Half Marathon Derby.
Yep.
You running?
Yes.
I don't.
Yes.
Out-
I will
out in
be.
front in the car.
I will be out in front.
In the car.
I don't know. I didn't say how. I said I'll be out in front.
Oh,
Leave it there. I'll be out in front.
all right. You're not in high school anymore.
And I don't know who's gonna catch me.
You're not in high school anymore.
I'm gonna make sure it's all topped up with gas.
Cool. Fair enough. Fair
Yes.
enough.
Yeah.
Before we move on, because we have some good guests in studio, before we get to real quickly, last time, or not last time, but 3 weeks ago, we had a bet, you and I, right?
Mhm.
It was on football, correct? It was what, Man United and Liverpool finishing up the season, correct?
We had a bet.
Yeah, we had a bet.
What was the
Before we
bet?
move on, because we have some good guests
Hey,
in
trust
studio,
me,
before we get to
trust me.
United came after Liverpool. United finished 6th, Liverpool
Yes,
4th.
hold on. You're talking like I'm a United fan. What are you talking
Because
about?
you bet me that day.
Okay, get your rackets.
I will. Pay it back on your website. You'll see it 3 weeks ago.
I can't find that.
Yeah, jeez. Okay, I've got it inside, right? You owe me a fish sandwich,
Okay, I don't have a problem with
all right? I don't want the bread, so just give me a fish dinner instead. And some brown rice.
that. Okay, hey,
That's cool?
yeah.
So
yeah.
we betting on cup match too, right?
Oh, that was extended bet.
That was the standard one about protein bars.
Yeah, that's right. I remember that one. I don't remember the. I don't remember. I wouldn't. Why would I bet on English football?
Go on. You remember that bet?
We're going to have to go to the audience.
Thank you. I wouldn't bet on English football.
You said because you're Liverpool, you're going to take Man United. I remember that.
Who?
Clearly.
Who said that?
You.
I said I'm Liverpool.
No, I'm Liverpool. I don't walk alone.
Oh,
You said you'll take Man United just for the heck of it.
I don't remember that. Thing.
Okay. All right. Well, I'll leave it alone. But we'll be on cup match too, right?
Oh yeah.
You're St. Giorgio and I'm Somerset.
Yeah.
Right, sure. Anyway, let's move along. Our guest in studio with us right now is the president of the Bermuda Half Marathon Committee, Dr. Gina Tucker, and the race director, Mr. Roger Lee. Good afternoon, one and all.
Good afternoon. Good afternoon, Bermuda.
Glad to have you in studio with us. It's that time of year, as Earl said, that it's the big event in Bermuda where we kickstart our summer. Obviously, following after the half marathon is going to be America's Cup on Friday. But this event has been around for 108 years. And this is our history. This is the start of the summer for 2017. Kickstart things doing. What are expectations this year coming out of St. George's the first time or second time in the last 39 years?
And I'm expecting that the crowds will be more enthused, even more enthused than they were 2 years ago. I'm expecting that participants now know that this is a challenging course. That may be why the numbers are a little decreased this year, but it is important that we're trying to really share it and spread it around. But so this is a course that is one to be reckoned with, and when you conquer this, then you really have conquered the half marathon Derby in Bermuda. So we're expecting that, it is bigger and better every year. We go from strength to strength, and this year shouldn't be any different.
Okay. As we all know in the record, Mr. Chris Estronic holds the record coming out of St. George's and Somerset. There was late word, I think last night, that he had signed up and so to participate in this year's event. However, our sports director, Mr. Earl Basin, has informed us that is not the case. Earl, just can you enlighten what's happening there?
Well, Chris had registered for the race as it was shown on the Race Day World website this morning. But just prior to the 12 o'clock newscast, he sent an email expressing his disappointment. He has tried to work back from multiple injuries that he's had to overcome, and given it that effort, he just felt he couldn't give his all come Wednesday, so he's decided to pull his name off the start list for Wednesday in St. George. So no Christus Warnick on the start line, no Christus Warnick running through the finish line first, unfortunately, but that opens the door for so many others. Another stunning revelation was that Lamont Marshall had signed up. Saw his name, verified myself. We reported that at 12 as well. So there might still be a chance for if he runs, the defending champion can defend his title.
Well, with that said, I'm going to speak to Roger and Dr. Tuck on this. Speculation regarding, I don't say speculation, you can take that back. Reports all last week saying that the Marshall boys will not be running, will never run again in the race due to allegations being put forth by them and their father regarding the funds on the Bermuda Half Marathon Committee. Now there's word that they're running. That must have been a surprise. There was also, within the last 7 to 12 word that the funding, let me get it correct, the funding had been resolved regarding the winning prize for this year. Can you enlighten us on that, please? Either one, yeah, either one of you.
Right, I guess I can start. As you can imagine, I was especially surprised. Martha did say that she signed him up, because we are here speculating this afternoon, because all of this is speculation, other than the allegations that were lodged last week. It's important for persons to understand that, again, this is a committee, one that is very strong in high in integrity and credibility. I am not a one committee of one. I work with a team of people. Together we establish a budget. The budget is based on the funds that we have. Persons should know that years past, let's say even 10 years ago, the funds looked very different. Appleby was providing an allotment of money just for prizes only. And then that same allotment needs to run the race. We did have the opportunity to have some time sponsorship with IMG, which provided or did in goods, but a significant amount was spent in goods, which allowed for, again, prizes to be established accordingly. Since the absence of IMG, it has been operating, this race has been operating on the funds, the same 35,000 that was 10 years ago, the same 35 is operating the entire race. So if one was to compare 10 years ago to now, those prizes would look extremely different. And in fact, the depth of the prizes, the categories of the prizes, even those have been expanding. And at the same time, we've been trying to run a race that is one that's credible, that involves toilets, that involves shirts, that involves bags, that involves pleasing the sponsor and making sure the sponsor's name is out there. And so it is unfortunate, and it's unfortunate that we would engage in this kind of back and forth in public. I get that people might have a perception. I usually boil something like this down to a misunderstanding, a misperception, a lack of communication, although there's been an attempt. But I beg of Bermuda, and I beg of us to be engaged in dialogue in a respectful way. This committee, and I say it because I've been working with them and they've been relentless and unwavering. This committee deserves respect for the volunteer services we do around this race. So, again, their allegations, I repeat, unsubstantiated, unfounded, and quite libelous. If they, I don't know about it being said that they have been cleared up. There was nothing to clear up. So it was cleared up from the start.
There you go.
But again, if it's now better understood, then that's a good thing. That's a good thing, because no one in this committee is taking any money whatsoever, not a penny In fact, the treasurer has been so good that we have maintained a level of, what is it again? We're in the good space. Yeah, we're in the good space of, not owning people in the age. We're in a good space. So,
I have a question because you
Yeah.
said it. So his mother has signed him up?
well, she did say to me that she signed him up.
Okay.
So I don't know. Lamont hasn't come to me and said that, hey, Tucker, listen, I'm signing up for this race. I know I said I'm not running because of you, but I changed my mind.
Right.
So again, we don't know. He did it.
Oh, okay.
So that's what she said to me
Mhm.
on Saturday, that she signed him up.
Okay.
That surprise you?
What's that?
That the mother signed him up?
I didn't know. It doesn't show who signed somebody up. I just looked on there and saw that Lamont Marshall was registered for the race. So I didn't know if he signed him, and now I'm finding out that the mother signed him up. So there's still no guarantee if he'll actually run. So, okay, for the sake of clarity as well, break it down. You said you get 35,000 for prizes, or to put on the entire event.
So prior to 2007,
Mm-hmm.
it was 35,000 from Applebee for prizes.
Right.
Prior to 2007.
Okay.
At 2007, if I'm recording my years correctly, 2007, Applebee became sponsor of 35. They were not titled at that time. They
Okay.
became a sponsor, $35,000.
Mm-hmm.
We also acquired sponsorship from ING.
Right.
People remember this few
Yeah,
years
yeah,
in
I remember.
ING.
Yeah.
And ING was given funds in support of goods. So they were paying for all of the beautiful T-shirts, especially me to this awesome
Yeah, yeah. First year was
eggs,
orange
that's
and white.
right, that's right.
Mhm.
All of those really, really nice quality things that we were able to get in those 3 years.
Mm-hmm.
In fact, there was a mountain too, I believe the highest in the last 2 years was about $25,000 worth of goods that they gave us. So in essence, that beefed us up 25,000 more
Right.
in terms of being able to run that race with Applebee being a sponsor. In 2012, so that was 3 years, and even 2 years, it was just the 35,000.
Mm-hmm.
And then in 2012, Applebee became sponsor, sole sponsor, other than Pure Water, tremendously, with the 35,000. And I believe in 1 year pushed it up to 5,000 to support more enhanced goodie bags.
Mm.
So it's been a challenge
Right.
to run this race,
That was going to be my next question.
Yeah.
How much does it cost to actually run the event?
So you're looking at, I want to say, if I'm remembering, probably about 70.
Okay.
And if you look at the registration fee over the years, we have not had full. People look and they say 40, it's at $40 or 45, and 800 people, 45. But we pay chip timing, we pay BNR registration, and we pay MENA levy. That leaves us with probably less than $20 per
person.
registration.
Okay.
So it's not even that.
Yeah, I think that has to be cleared up because a lot of people would assume, okay, you get $40 per person. You start adding up the amount of people that are in the race because obviously this morning it was 1,090,
Right.
and I've been informed reliably by Roger that 7 more individuals have signed up. So the perception out there
That's right.
is that you getting $40 per person of that 1,097 people.
That'd be like $40,000.
Thereabouts.
Yeah.
So that's the perception. But clearing it up, or people hearing that you're only getting about half of that to go with the 35, and you're still short somewhat to actually put on the event.
Right. Well, we put on an event because it happens every year. And
Right.
So people know we have to put on an event even if we have $0.
Right.
Or zero sponsorship.
Right.
We have to operate it over $20
Yeah.
a year because this race must happen. But yes, it has.
I
been
think that's the
tightened.
important thing, that the expenditure of what it takes to actually put it on and the breakdown of what you actually get from it needs to be one of the things. And a lot of this stuff wouldn't go on,
That's right. If people-
even just street talk,
That's right.
because that's the problem. It's a lot of street talk
Yeah.
outside of what Lamont and Larry has been saying and the father has been saying. There's a lot of people on the street that talk like that because they don't know.
Yeah.
So I think what has to happen is you have to break it down to that point, which you just
That's
did.
it. I tried.
As simple as that is, now someone listening says, "Oh, I didn't realize that."
Yeah.
So now they go back to the calculator and start adding up, and their math is a lot different now, and their understanding of how it is and how you have to put it on
That's right.
and what you get out of it.
It's a cost. It costs to
Right.
run this race, and the race is not just for the ones in the front.
Mm-hmm.
It has to be enjoyable and respectful and a pleasant
Right.
experience for the one in the back,
Right.
and all 1,000 in between.
Yeah. Race director, you have there's a cutoff time for, I think, Red Hill, is it? What's the cutoff time for the last person to be on the race course past a certain point?
Well, we
Coming from Somerset.
coming from Somerset
Yeah.
and coming from St. George's, we actually closed the finish line at 12:30.
Okay.
So the race is officially over at 12:30.
Okay.
So an individual running the race starting at 9, they have to be able to make it across the finish line by 12:30.
Are they still? Well, okay. So I'm on the road. I'm on Cedar Avenue at 12:30. Do I stop?
You
You
can't
can-
you
you
can't
can
stop.
go.
You can keep going. you can't stop if you
Okay.
wish. But
So my question would be: are there people on the race course, sweepers kind of
sweepers,
thing, like to
yes.
stop people? Like you're not going to get into town now. They already started to set up for the parade because you're
yes,
like you close down certain areas because people start moving
Yeah.
to get in position for the parade, and there are certain streets in which things change, right?
absolutely correct. And we do have people that go to the back of the pack and sweep and,
Mm-hmm.
and encourage individuals who are back there to probably try next time.
Right.
And but if somebody's out there putting in the effort and they insist that they have to finish, it's very difficult to prevent
Right.
them from doing that.
Right.
So they continue, and obviously we don't put them in danger.
Mhm.
We make sure that they have water, they have what they need,
Right.
and they might get to the area where the finish line was
Right.
or is, but maybe all the equipment may not be there. But has it happened before?
Oh yeah.
Yes, it certainly has. It certainly has. But people run within themselves, and they it becomes very personal to them, and they would like to finish.
Right.
And who are we to prevent them from finishing their challenge?
Right.
Because it's their challenge.
Yeah.
So we have to be cognizant of that, but people also have to be cognizant of the fact that the race has a time limit.
Mm-hmm.
And we try to respect that,
Right.
because shortly thereafter there's another event going on right
Yes.
after us,
Yeah.
which starts at 1:30,
Right.
and they have to prepare for that.
Mm-hmm.
So we try to be very respectful at the time, so that all entities involved for the day, because we're just one part of the day,
Yes.
get their due.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and while we really do try to close it down itself, that we're not mean people, and so we've had times when I believe it was Kim from Mirrors, her last name or something, Kim from Mirrors was
Thompson.
Thompson. She was running in support of Mirrors, and I tell you, she was, she worked hard, and we held that finish line up for her. She came past 12:30, but we got word that she was coming in,
Right.
and so we held it up for her, and that was a glorious moment. So
Mhm.
if we know definitively that someone is, and then we try to be flexible. But the race director wants that finish line closed at 12:30.
Yes.
So if you ran it 2 weeks ago, you didn't make 12:30.
Don't run these.
Another question. Obviously, there's more challenges running out of the east than it is running out of the west, and obviously, the airport is the biggest challenge of time and flight schedules.
Sure.
And there's always been talk of moving the race forward. What are the obstacles in the way of actually starting earlier than we usually start at 9? Because everyone expressed it last year and years going by. 9 o'clock, it's hot. I'm mixing two elements in. I'm mixing obviously the flights at the airport and the heat conditions. If you start earlier, you take one of those things out, but you still have the other.
Yeah, when we embarked on the process of coming from the east,
Mm-hmm.
that was one of the major things that had to be taken into consideration. And with that, we worked through that with the airport authority
Mhm.
and the folks at the airport, and went through the scenario of us coming from the east and how that can work to not interfere with
flights departing, flight
Mhm.
departures, and folks getting to the airport,
Right.
right? And we were able to, and that worked out for us in 2015.
Right.
And the flight schedules haven't changed for this year, so we're on the same schedule,
Right.
fortunately. Now, if we feel that if we could probably move it a half an hour earlier, we would still fall within the flight schedules,
Right.
especially coming from the east anyway, and wouldn't have any issues with flights departing
Right.
on the morning.
Mhm.
Can we go an hour earlier? Well, I guess that would probably depend on the community,
Right.
because it is a community event. It's Bermuda Day,
Right.
and that means people will have to get up
Oh, earlier.
earlier, right? To be the whole country would have to move an hour or more earlier.
Right.
So if it's moved an hour
Earlier.
earlier on a Friday,
Oh, that'll
it'd be perfect.
It'll be
yeah. On a
It-
Friday,
on a Friday.
it won't matter,
On a
right?
Friday.
It'll all be good.
That's what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
On a Friday. But sorry.
Is any a group of people that can make that decision? And it's 108 years now, right?
it's 108 years.
And they hadn't budgeted on it yet.
The change is coming.
We all thought that the last time this really came about,
Yeah.
it was it had to be about 6. Yeah,
4 years
it was in
Yeah.
the middle of the week,
I remember.
and everybody, politicians up and down, get in the House of Assembly. You're sitting there waiting for somebody to make a motion. Nothing.
There's still hope. Keep the faith, brother.
That's right.
Keep
Oh,
the
okay.
faith.
Faith has gotten me this far. Faith has gotten me this
This
far.
far.
Okay.
But sorry.
But
She was saying.
Yeah. So so I guess coming from the west,
Mhm.
there wouldn't be any challenges airport wise.
Right.
So it shouldn't be a issue.
Mhm.
But we have to make a decision on that and move forward. The runners are asking for it.
Mhm.
And there's heat and humidity that has to be taken into consideration. We had last year was a lot of rain.
Yeah. In the lead up
And
to
the lead up
Yeah.
to it, right? And
Yeah.
then it was a very humid day.
on the
It was
actual
very-
day. Yeah.
And even some of our top runners
Mhm.
even commented about that and how they had to stay hydrated, and it was zapping them. So
Right.
somebody that's not seasoned at all, imagine how they felt.
Right. Right.
And we had quite a few people.
100.
We had a few people,
Mhm.
100+ people who had issues with hydration and
Mhm.
cramping and having to go and get drips and that type of thing,
Right.
right?
Right.
And one of the unique things about the Bermuda event is that you have those athletes that run year round all the time. They get used to the conditions. Their bodies are conditioned to that. But then you have people that have never competed
Yes.
in the marathon derby, and it's one of the bucket list items in the history of Bermuda. They want to compete,
Mhm.
and they get up, they do various levels of training.
If any at all.
If any at all, right? I mean, we don't recommend that, but
Right.
we suggest that people do train and see the medical practitioners and get clearance and know their own bodies, and we can only hope that that's what they've done prior to filling out a registration form
Right.
and competing. So people must prepare themselves, because it is 13 miles. It's
A
a
long
half
way.
marathon. It's a long way. It's not easy.
Right.
And I glory in everybody's spirit that can actually run in.
As you ride by them, if you're a smile on your face.
Absolutely, and finish an event like that.
Right.
So you have to prepare yourself, and in the context of Bermuda and the humidity that may come along with it, hydration is very, very important. But hydration doesn't happen on that day.
Right.
Hydration has to be something that's done weeks
Right,
prior.
right,
You have to condition your body for the hydration as well.
Mhm.
And so if people don't do that, they'll find themselves in difficulty.
Right.
So we suggest that we do that. So that's what we're put out there. We put hydration on our website. We got with the medical folks to say, how can you help us out here to get people to be prepared? So
Mhm.
that's what we feel that they need to do, because I guess with climate change and everything else, it seems May 24th seems to be getting hotter.
Do you think, Chris and Ashley's record for this year, coming out of the East? Ase?
Good question.
I think that's a very good question. Based on some of the results that I've seen for races throughout the island, the lead up to this, it would appear to be that they are safe.
Right.
But
On the day,
you never know. You know, they may be people who are overseas, Bermudians that have been running overseas, that are coming back home for the event, that may be doing training that we're not aware of and haven't seen any recent times on what they're doing. So it's possible, but as it stands right now, I see those records probably standing. I think the long-term forecast for Wednesday is 80%.
Right.
About 80% humidity.
Humidity, yes.
Right. So it's important. It's very, very important that the runners realize that and prepare themselves for that.
Are you putting in extra water stops? I know you guys had added some prior.
We did, and we feel that it's adequate. I mean, we virtually got one within each mile.
Okay.
Along with some unofficial, right?
Of course, and along with
the unofficial, I will tell you right now. Check the people that are giving it to you.
Exactly.
But I will note
they might want you to party.
I just want to note that the Virgil family is doing an unofficial.
Oh, okay.
And so they're a credible.
Yes.
So stop at theirs. It's the Virgil family, right on Psyche House, right away from Shady Bay.
Yes.
Right. They're definitely doing an unofficial.
And coming from the West for many, many years at White Hill has always been the Williams family.
Right.
Right?
Yes.
Always, that's
a tradition.
That's a tradition.
Yeah.
So we do tell the athletes that unofficial stations are at your own risk. However, they have to make that decision if they want. But we have the official water stations, which are marked clearly with our officials wearing the orange T-shirts and looking uniform, and having all the equipment provided by our sponsors, Pure Water, to hydrate.
Okay. Well, folks, you're listening to Inside Sports Talk Radio right here on Power 95. We're talking with the president of the Bermuda Day Half Marathon Derby, Dr. Gina Tucker, and race director Roger Lee. We'll be back after this message from our sponsors. Okay.
I don't have any stats on the relay, to be honest.
I don't.
Well,
I know it's 116 so far.
So we just want to let them know there'll be some organization in there. And,
Right.
I've got Lisa's radios for it too, upstairs. The straightforward, just turn away.
Lisa, Mom.
Yeah, she's coming by this afternoon. It's 5:30. Yeah, we had a little meeting with the USC committee on this tour. No, 5:30 this evening. On Saturday we had the meeting. It'd be like massive if you didn't come see that, right?
Gosh. Oh, I just wondered that Lamont is going to be on that line.
There you go.
How you think he will? You think so? I have a feeling he will.
I was hoping his father called him, that's why I called his name.
Why is Lamont on?
Some they might call you.
Why did the mother come sign him up? Too embarrassed.
And
People could call in anytime.
And I wouldn't put that over there. I don't care. I won't do that over there. Your mama said she signed him up. That's what they do. She did just like they come on TV talking about what Alfred, mama signed him up. That's what they do.
I've never seen him up in my life.
Yeah?
Yeah, she was
right
I
there.
don't know.
You don't
don't
know.
know.
You don't know that.
Very pleasant.
Very pleasant. I give her a t-shirt. Every year she's an honorary
No more
t-shirt.
t-shirt for me.
So that counts our whole number.
Yeah, just all.
Oh, what? You know?
It gets me every time.
Yeah.
I look up and say, oh, we got a long time before I get up this street.
Coming back?
Yeah.
Well,
All the runs before, during, and after every race will be captured. And best of all, you'll be watching for free. We're restoring our full TV service, and for the first time ever, viewers in Bermuda will enjoy beautiful, high-definition images through terrestrial television, and listeners can tune in to our live race commentary on radio. Stay tuned, folks. We know you'll enjoy the show.
Okay, yeah. No, don't give me that. I'll get it.
Sports Talk Radio. Inside Sports Talk Radio with Power 95 FM. With host Ian Rose and co-host Earl Painston.
And welcome back to Inside Sports Talk Radio. If you'd like to tell our listeners, you can give us a call at 292-9595. Any questions for our guests or Earl and I, we'll be more than welcome to answer them for you. Getting back to Dr. Tucker, regarding the race for this year, what are the numbers like? Did we discuss that already?
Yep.
Right, that's right, we did.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. Regarding the funding, I should go back to the fall when Mr. Marshall was when Elevation saying rumors that he said that everything had been sorted out. Has anything been sorted out with the funding? Or for the winning prize money in that regard?
Well, we did after a conversation with last year and the postmortem. I did share with Appleby, I guess concerns, around their concerns, Mr. Marshall's concerns around the prize money, and thankfully they have given additional funds toward that. I want to say that it's you hit the jackpot with it, but it will allow us to enhance that prize money a bit this year. This year, repeat again, the prizes are based on the budget that we have in any given year. If we don't have any sponsorship, then we obviously couldn't give prizes in that way.
But the
right?
race will still go on.
The race will still go on every single year. And so, again, my commitment is to ensuring that we deliver a race that is respectful for the day, and it does. We're not a professional event. I got that cleared up, which was important because when we hear that we are a professional event, and people say that, and I'm saying, okay, let us do some research to really clarify if we are or not. Because the understanding that we had for all these years is that we were not. We cleared that up or raised that with DINA, and in fact, because we are not under the
IAAF.
There we go, that would make us not professional.
Right.
Although we attempt to organize a race at the highest standard. So again, that puts that in that perspective.
You want to add anything to that, Roger?
No, I think it's been covered.
Okay.
There's been a lot of roadworks going on of late,
Yeah.
up and down the island.
You know?
Who has the final say before we take off on the morning? Because obviously it's a holiday, but there are things that are being done leading up to the holiday, and we know people leave things, work crews or whatever. There's been a spillage of cement on the road in Bay somewhere in Harlem Heights, around that area that could become dangerous if conditions change. So who checks that out to ensure that it's safe for everyone involved to be taking part in this event?
That's a very good question. We meet with various stakeholders for the day, including Works and Engineering, Youth and Sports, and so on, because it's important that the race is using the roads. So, and sometimes there's roadworks, diversions, whatever, and we work with them to work through it to make sure that those obstacles can be prevented for the race day. And they've been very good at doing that. So I see, I call his name Mr. Charles, Mr. Curtis Charles, who is very diligent in the roadworks, and he comes to came to the meetings and make sure that give us update on where we're going to be on May 24th. So we're very pleased with that relationship, and and other entities that are involved in the day, we get together and meet on it, and so that it's smooth for everybody, because the roads would impact the event that happens just before us.
Right. Yeah, the cycle race. Yeah.
Right, the cycle
Yeah.
race. And they're moving a lot faster than the runners
Yes,
are.
yes,
So,
yes.
so speed and obstacles don't really go together. You
Right,
know what I mean?
right.
So it's been a good working relationship with all the stakeholders, everybody involved, to make sure that the event comes off in good manner, and there's no incidences that could be avoided.
Right. Any talks with the airport operations regarding the construction of the airport? Because they've just put a lot of gravel and sand, and on a regular day, if the wind blows, that
Yes.
stuff's blowing, and that could be challenging for anybody who's running a race to try and wet it down on Wednesday morning, or if they're going to be working at all.
We would have to. I actually see that on Sunday because I drove the
Mhm.
course and started from start to finish
Right.
on Sunday.
Yes.
Just to make sure, and I did see that there's like a big berm there.
Yep.
Of gravel or some sort of.
Right.
It may require that if it's a windy day.
Mhm.
So we will certainly try to address that
Yeah.
if need be. But that's a very
That could
good
that
point.
could that could
Yeah.
actually create a
Create
big problem
problem.
for especially people that run that have asthma.
Yeah.
And are just struggling to get across the
Across.
causeway because
Yeah.
you're not even halfway when you reach that part.
Yeah,
You know
exactly.
what I mean? So you
That's
still got
only
quite.
between mile 2 and 3.
Yeah. So that could present a big problem. And I mean, it'll be like this year. Maybe well, we won't have to worry about it next year, and they should be pretty much well underway.
Right.
But just to try and alleviate some of that.
Yeah.
Because it's still new. It's still they're still digging it up. So
Yeah.
obviously you're gonna have loose
Good
stuff.
Yeah.
And if you have a breeze coming
Sand
through there,
dust, yeah.
it's gonna create a problem. So maybe just a little conversation, and hopefully if they're listening, they can reach out to you guys to say, listen, we understand what's going on, and we can help just by writing it down, even if you write it down that night.
Mhm.
And
It'll be a good help.
yeah,
Good.
yeah, yeah. Every little bit of Lonely Way helps you, dude.
Hey,
Absolutely.
listen.
You're right, you're right.
Yeah, yeah. So, team-wise, we know we have 106.
Oh,
That's 424 runners in that. Obviously, you have points where people will be picking up batons, dropping them off, and,
yeah.
and doing the whole bit. But it only adds to the thought process of. I know there was a lot of back and forth about adding in relays because some people are traditional. We all know that.
Yeah.
That wanted it to stay. If you're gonna run it, you're gonna run the whole thing. But then it allows people who have goals just to run in it, allows them to actually take part, which is, I might not be able to run 13.1. I probably won't be able to run and walk within the required amount of time. So, but allowing me to do a leg of relay actually makes me feel part of it. So off my list it goes.
Yeah.
Right.
That's a very good point. And that was the thought process surrounding it.
Mhm.
I mean, I have a personal story of a cousin of mine
Right.
that first year she ran one leg of a relay.
Right.
The next time she ran 2 legs of the relay.
Okay.
Right. And this year, right,
Uh-huh.
she signed up to do the whole thing.
Oh, okay.
So it is an introduction
Right.
for some people to it.
Mhm.
Those who feel that okay, maybe going out and doing 13, the full one at one go may not
Right.
be for me, but they get a taste of it.
Mhm.
And the miles for the relay are probably between 3 and 4. It's not
Mhm.
really over 5 at any point.
Right.
It's about 3 or 4. So if people figured, okay, if I could do that, if somebody could run 2 legs,
Right.
well,
Right.
they're almost there.
Right.
So that is an intro for some, and I think I don't know what the stats are on that, and we
Right.
haven't really kept stats on that, but I think that it has encouraged people to start with the relay and then move on to the
Right.
full event.
Right. I do. Oh, good. Yeah.
The numbers in 2015 obviously were huge. There were 992, I think, runners coming out of the East, and I think this year is 660 plus.
Correct.
So the 900 were individuals.
Individuals,
Yeah.
I'm sorry, I think,
Yeah.
individuals.
Correct.
Is it because of the course was a challenge? You think the numbers are down this year?
It's hard to tell. I mean, it could be partly because it just could be the who's on the island at this time, the injuries. We already know one's not running for one reason, the other one wasn't running for a different reason. So people definitely have their reasons, and it's very hard to judge exactly why it goes up and down. But it does go up and down. I mean, we have our years that are way up there. The 100th year, we had again about 1,300. I think we had about 1,200 individuals
Wow.
on the 100th year. I mean, I don't even think we had started the relay at that time.
Right.
But again, it was a celebratory year, and which brought people out. And so, it could be numerous reasons as to why.
Right.
But I do want to recognize that even with the relay, we've been evolving in that space and really trying to organize it better. And so this year, persons will see that's 100 people converging at a spot.
Yes.
Right? I just want you to, there are 100 people waiting at that spot and 100 people converging at that
Yes.
spot. And so we really work to organize that space and create a lane. If you're out there listening, any relay participants, they would have a lane in which they run through to meet the persons in their spot, so they're not stretching across the entire street
Yeah.
waiting for the person to come.
Yeah.
And we would have, we have the megaphones, and we would have someone who's actually indicating what number is coming up, there's
Mhm.
relay numbers coming up. So we hope that people feel, even the marathon runners, we hope
Mhm.
that they feel that it's a lot more organized and that the spaces are clearly defined.
Right.
So that to keep the safety of all in the process.
Right. One of the things that you guys talk about is the people that take part. I know you guys say regardless of the money, it would always be on. But as a committee, don't you always want the top runners to be involved? Some might say it doesn't matter who takes part, but for interest's sake, I mean, this year actually, if Lamont does not go to the start line, it is very interesting to see
It will be.
who actually put themselves forward, right from the gun to the finish line, in both male and female, because you don't have Rosanna. So it makes it interesting. But which do you like? Which do you prefer? Favorites or let's see who wins, who can outdo the field.
I like those. I mean, I like that we can mix it up a little bit,
Right.
Because we do know it would have been really interesting to see Chris this year as well,
Right.
To see if he can pull it off even with the record he had last time.
Mm-hmm.
But for us, there will be a king and a queen,
Yes.
and the Derby is just that. It originated from being a Derby spirit, right?
Right.
So whoever shows up, who's going to be the king or queen?
Right.
It's whoever it is on that day.
Yeah.
And so that's why when we look at the history, it varied. Some people kept coming out, and then one year they didn't come out, and someone else took it.
Right.
And so I would really like to see the top people come out and show their stuff on this day.
Mm-hmm.
But I do also appreciate that there will be, and we will give the due respect to whoever is the king or
Mhm.
queen
Mhm.
this year. So I don't want to feel like it's a diminished king or queen. Like
Right.
each year, the person who is first is king or queen, irrespective of whoever was not in the race.
Right. Right.
so
Yeah.
so it's part of the heritage and
Mhm.
part of the spirit behind this race.
Right.
You know, is that whoever comes first or whoever's on the start line, and as Chris said, his injury is, you don't get on the start line unless you're prepared to run for
Yeah.
real. No excuses.
Right.
You can't get on and say, oh, my leg was hurting.
Yeah.
Either you're on it or you're not. So, when Chris makes the decision to not get on it,
Mhm.
then it says, I'm not going to risk,
Right.
right?
Right.
What could possibly happen with
Right.
me on that line when I'm not at my very best.
Right.
And we respect that.
Yeah.
So,
One final one for me, and that is I happened to look to see if youngster Price was on the start list, and he is.
oh, okay.
How does that work? How is he eligible?
Which, tell me a little more.
Price. I can't remember.
Is he young? Is he
No, he's from the U.S. He's been working here. Well, had his work permit since January. He won the Swans Running Club's 3-race series or 4-race series. He's been here since end of November, but he's only been legally had his work permit since January. And remember, I called you to ask you about how does that work? What is the time limit for someone? And you said it's 6 months.
Mhm.
But Tim Price is his name.
Tim Price.
But he's actually signed up for the race.
That's interesting.
So you're saying he got his permit in January? of this
January
year.
of this year.
So that's not 6 months.
Right.
But he's been living here since November.
He was here since end of November. Yes.
Here, just hanging out.
Yeah, I guess he was waiting for the permit. I guess.
He
So
was
he's
Yeah.
hanging
Okay.
right.
Yeah.
So legally,
Okay,
it's
so he
January.
is- yeah, he's
Right.
been-
He can only prove he's been here since January.
Right. And as you know, we couldn't possibly police this
Right.
event, so we rely on this kind of conversation
Right.
and information
Right.
because I could not know every
Right, but
resident.
I think that was one of the things where we were trying to figure out how that happens, and hypothetically, I mean, he'll be one of the favorites if he runs, because without Chris, if Lamont doesn't show up, he'll be running with Chase, Jay, and these guys, you know, because he can match them.
If he does not meet the criteria,
Right. So
He's
so
ineligible.
I guess now I have to go back to the committee to make sure that the person, when they sign up, how long have you been here, or how long have you legally been here? Is that on the documentation for non-resident?
they have to indicate the residency. So it would be expected. In addition, it says you would not be eligible for any prizes if you're not.
Right.
meeting
But
the
you can still
criteria.
run, or you're just not eligible for prizes.
Right. I mean, you know,
Because I think his thought is sign up because I just want to run it.
right.
Okay. Here lies the problem.
Yeah, if it's in the front.
If he's in the front and no one told you guys,
Right.
what happens? Second becomes first. But when do you find out second becomes first? You know what I mean?
Yes,
Right,
yes.
right,
It is a little, it's a
a little
challenging
tricky.
space.
Right.
It's a tricky space.
Right.
So, it really is a tricky space. But he's informed us and said we will have to.
I mean, he technically he could come first, but he knows right off the bat he's not getting a prize because he indicated that to me. He
So
says,
then-
"Oh, I know."
So then you're telling me he knows that he hasn't been here for 6 months.
Right,
Okay.
but he's still signed up for the race. Now, my thought was, okay, if he can't, then what? He shouldn't be registered. He shouldn't
run-
have an
he's-
official number.
An official number.
You know what I mean? Yeah, yeah, yeah. He could
Shouldn't
run
be
it. Anybody
official
can run
because
it.
He could run
Anybody
it.
can run
Yeah.
But he shouldn't be a
Right,
official
because anybody wearing an official should be eligible to
Yeah.
win something.
Right. Right.
So we would have to really take a second look at it.
Right.
Yeah. We would have to.
You will know. They have an answer for you.
It's a-
Why
it's a-
Wednesday
it's a
morning? for
very,
sure.
it's a very.
I know it's a fine line.
It's a very fine and a very ticklish space
Yes.
because if, let's say an amazing professional, really professional runner
Mhm.
gets on this island a month ago and
Right.
just somehow gets on the start.
Mm-hmm.
You know, because you guys are with us in the front, you're not in the front, you would be saying, who is that?
Right.
Where did they come from? What's his name?
Right.
And you will be doing a history check right during that,
Yes.
at the beginning.
Yeah.
Now, if they do venture along, if there's a certain space and there may be a conversation with him that says, Tim, you cannot, how much do we allow you to, I want to say, how do I put this? I don't want to say compromise,
Mhm.
but it's almost, we have to pull you.
Right.
If there's a certain point in time, it's very tricky.
Right.
We haven't experienced it as yet, so
I-
do you have any thoughts?
It's one of those things that could actually happen this time around.
Mm.
If everything falls into place, he can actually be
The front runner?
in front runner. Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
Wow.
All right. Well, we can definitely get back to you and everyone else by Wednesday.
Errol's watching his eyes. Eyes on the ground.
I'm sure your phone will be ringing in the next
Well,
24 hours.
well, I mean,
It's all good.
It's good though. It's
Exactly.
good. I mean, scenarios like this don't happen all the time, but
Yeah.
when they do happen, we have to make sure we put things in place
Yep.
to prevent them from happening again. So,
Sure. Sure.
I believe there's been a scenario like this sometime before. I can't remember the full details. of it,
right,
But I recall that someone actually made that known right up front,
right,
and a decision was made that the person I think they did compete. I stand to be correct.
Right.
I recall it was some years ago,
Mhm.
but someone came to the island to work.
right,
Didn't fall right within the 6
Yes.
months,
Yeah.
but had been competing locally in events.
right, right.
And I think at that point in time, the committee at that time made a decision.
Mm.
Made a decision on it, if I recall correctly.
Okay.
So
All
we
right.
certainly have to have a look at it.
Yeah.
Indeed.
All right. Well, I want to say good luck to you guys on Wednesday, and good luck to everyone that signed up, and those folks on the sideline. Wishing those runners, walkers, relayers, and everyone else good luck on their journey to Dutton Avenue.
Yeah. Dutton Avenue.
Yeah, Dutton Avenue. So,
City Park,
Yeah.
And of
Bernard's
course,
Park.
don't let us close out with our station our sponsors, of course, Applebee and Pure Water, and of course, my basic committee, and our volunteers who are ready and geared up to get up early on Wednesday morning. And so we thank everyone who's playing a part to make sure that this race is superb. And of course, to all of the participants who got on the start line, all the best. I'll see you there.
Before we go, during the interview you were saying earlier that the race may start earlier. So what, a half hour or an hour next year, you think, possibly? I'm just saying that because runners are saying it.
But Bermuda should probably prepare itself for a slightly earlier start.
You go, runners are asking for it.
Yeah, they are. So we're looking at half an hour.
Listen, I don't get much sleep now.
I know. Anyway, so you must well start.
You see what we got?
I just thought I'll throw that one in.
Yeah, exactly.
But we're all up, so you must well just get on with it.
Get on with it, yes indeed.
Okay.
All right, thank you. We're going to take a commercial break and we come back. We have Mr. Peter Dunn, the president of the Bermuda Bicycle Association, joining us next on Synchro Capital Cycle Race.
Inside Sports Talk Radio has been presented to you.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Now I'm gotta make him 3 o'clock.
There you go.
3 o'clock. So yeah, see, Tim hasn't made that known up front. He talked to you.
Yeah,
He
I
didn't-
called
he-
him.
He
I
didn't
called
say anything
him.
to the committee.
I called him on the phone and asked him how long he's been here. He told me, he says, I've been here since the end of November, beginning of December, but I didn't get my work permit until mid-January.
Right.
So I said, okay, cool. I said, are you aware that you won't be able to win the race? She says, yeah, I'm just going to run it just to run it. I said, oh, okay, cool. So then, to clarify it, I called Dr. Tonga and I asked her, what's the time frame? And when she told me November, I said, well, that's definitely he can't. So my thought was he would just run it unofficially with his girlfriend. But his now signed up, that could put, I mean, it's an official number now.
Yeah, some years back we went through this. I can't remember who the individual was.
I can't remember that too.
And
Parents?
huh?
No.
It was somebody that was here on a work permit. The committee at that time, which was Gina's dad. No, it was her. It was before her time. Because I was around the committee at that time.
Right.
I wasn't in the decision-making process.
Right.
But I remember they made a decision that the person had been here and been involved and been.
Was it Terry Ryan?
How much time find out?
Yes, ma'am.
Hey, give me some notes, bro. I
Yeah,
get Peter Dunn in here, bro. Okay.
It may have been.
Yeah, I
may have been.
think I remember
It may-
that
it may-
being something.
It may have been.
Terry Ryan.
And then he went on to win it
Yeah.
several times.
Yeah. Okay.
That's all right. Stop starting trouble.
Listen. I love that part.
I do. Thanks a lot.
Okay, guys.
Okay,
Thanks,
see you
man.
later.
All right, take care. See you.
Good, man.
He won. Can you imagine? He won.
Or when do you see now you got all the lead vehicles
Yeah.
and this guy's in front and nobody knows and everybody's saying that he runs to the finish line. Yeah, here's the winner.
Yeah.
But actually the person that comes second has been denied the opportunity of running through the finish line and being the winner.
Exactly.
Because people don't know. They just what I mean? So that type of information has to be you have to clarify it on the you have to clarify it on the sheet. You know?
Especially he's been here once he got his work permit.
Work
then
permit,
he's a
right.
resident.
And but
Otherwise, he's not a
but
resident.
see now here he's not misleading anyone because he's just signing up.
Someone
Right.
pays
Right.
attention to Earl's notices.
And
There you go. I
and
agree.
yeah, so it's just one of those things. Good afternoon, sir.
How are you?
6 cents?
I'm saying that I totally forgot I was supposed to show up, but I got the email that says,
What are you doing?
"Stats is now live on."
Oh.
And I was like, yeah, with Peter Dunn. 2 o'clock-ish. How are you?
What's that? You know, man.
Yeah.
One more spot.
Okay. Either one you can put on. So,
What's the topic today?
Synchro Capital more.
Dominique in Belgium.
Yeah, race this weekend.
Top 100?
Pardon?
Top 100?
Yeah, he said he finished in the bunch. I had a couple.
Yeah.
I never asked for the.
It was
placing.
he finished with 60 other riders.
Yeah.
He finished 72nd.
Yeah. It's hard and fast.
He got back and wasn't feeling well. So he went from that cool to that extraordinary heat, went back to that cool, and his
Yeah.
body just shut down.
Yeah.
So he didn't finish the first race, he went back. He went back to it.
Yeah, there's always like if you talk trying to
Stand
find
by,
his
folks.
comments from this morning.
Yeah,
And welcome back to Insights
you forgot where you were.
on Power 95. Joining us in the studio right now is the president of the New York Bicycle Association, Mr. Peter Dunn, who's no stranger to the studio or to our airwaves or to the cycling fraternity or sports in general in Bermuda. Good afternoon to you, sir.
Afternoon. Thanks for having me. Kind of a busy week.
Yeah.
Things going on Wednesday.
Things are going on Wednesday. The Sinclair Pepper Memorial Cycle Race, the big event for the cycling fraternity in Bermuda. This is where they come out and showcase the skills, an event that it's pretty a sport that's been around for quite some time, but it's grown in numbers each year. What are our expectations for this year?
Well, we're gonna have a great bike race coming
That's
back
right.
from the, I mean, any bike race is gonna be great, hopefully. But this is the second time they've come from the East End, so that's for some of our competitors, it's a new thing. It's a radically different course. The topography it comes at you in a totally different way than the coming out of the West End, and like every participant, and then those of us who aren't, riding, just dream about like, how is somebody going to win this thing? And what's it, where's the breakup point? And some of the young guys are like, oh, it'll be Crawl Hill coming, like that.
Right.
And I'm like, well, okay, well, because if you think about it, after Crawl Hill is a long downhill.
That's true.
Heavy guys with bigger gear go faster downhill, so it's not necessarily. So that's my.
That's your plan? Not a problem.
Yeah, I think we will not answer that. But, we'll find how to get rid of that out the door. There we go. Anyway, I guess I should learn how to mute my phone in the radio station. But anyway, yeah. So I think that there are different places that people worry. Think about where the race happened last time. Which was the first time we came out of the East End. The wind came out of somebody going like near Whitney. Where the race. But I have my own theories as to whether or not that's the why it unfolded that way and why others didn't go earlier, because and we have two young guys in Matthew Oliveira and Caden Hopkins, who have obviously demonstrated that they are the best, especially in our longer distance races, which pushes against the older guys. But the older guys typically have a better kick, or often have a great snap in terms of their quick acceleration pace, but it doesn't last as long.
Right.
So the key is for them to, in my opinion, to make it get off the front before the young guys go at it, and then when these others, if others then counter that and move up instead of dragging the whole bunch, come off in ones and twos, then all of a sudden you're already up the road, and then you're met by these others, and then they can help pull you away. So I think I've been very public about that. That's how I think in this direction the course is best. The race is probably best one, especially for the guys who feel like they're not in a typical road race, not able to beat or haven't figured a strategy to beat Matthew and Caden.
What do you think the chances of the two guys that are battling out in the B division matching? Because if you speak to any rider, 13 is a short race.
Yep.
It's fast.
Yep.
So, and those two, I'm talking about Birch and Rayner.
McQuinn Birch and,
and Gary.
Rayner,
They have been knocking on the door of that A division. If you look at their battles going on, they can put themselves in a little, because they're dueling.
Yeah. I'm, to be completely rude, which is my, my preferred style, is like if they were knocking on the doors of the A's, they'd be in the A's.
Well,
but they're not. They're in the B division. So, so no, I'm just saying, that's a reality of it. If you want to, this is one of the few times we have this race, and then we have road race championships, and which they wouldn't be racing against the juniors because we have separate categories, and then the criterium championships, which again the juniors would be racing separately. So, can they, I don't know if this course is perfectly suited for McQuinn, and Quinn's, a great person to race with and against and try to help as well. But, the long drags are going to be his downfall, especially the one that, the last big,
Right.
which is from the Old Church in Devonshire.
Yes, up the hill here.
Up to here at these studios. it's a long drag. It really saps you, and all you need is one of these guys like. Well, I think Gary Rayner probably has the opportunity to
Right.
do that. He just needs to be quick on the reaction. This is not a race to react to others when you feel the moment's right.
Right.
You have to anticipate that and be creating the opportunity, because if you allow someone else to play the cards that they want,
Yeah.
then you are going to be immediately playing defense.
Right.
And because of the nature of this race, you have to be playing offense, I think, more frequently. If there's a big bunch coming together into Hamilton, and by into Hamilton I mean like, up Queen Street and has made the turn,
Yeah.
then I think Quinn's, he's got an amazing turn speed,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
he can accelerate really quickly.
Mm-hmm.
But he needs to be there.
Right.
I wouldn't be surprised, if he's one of the top finishers in the group sprint. The question is there going to be is the winner of the race going to come from a bunch sprint?
Right.
So that's my own. I'm supportive of all the riders,
Right.
and I think it's an amazing event. But if you wanted the realistic expectations,
Ian, the funny thing is, the winner's either going to be a teenager or 30-something.
40.
Or 40, yeah, 40-something.
Well,
It's
if
no in betweens.
Yeah.
No 20-year-old plus.
This is one of the difficulties that we experience in cycling in Bermuda, is that we have a great group of juniors. Obviously, they are as good as we're producing, in terms of the local racing scene. But then, life and cycling get interrupted at certain ages. A lot of people go off to school, go to university, and their focus, pretty much in their last year of high school, turns to passing all their exams, getting accepted to the university of their choice, and then looking at a future that where cycling is not a priority. And then others, we just have, life comes along,
Right.
and all of a sudden girlfriends or boyfriends, change, become more important in the scheme of things. So we really have this void in the 20s, and that's really something that we've been trying to work on. And I think, Dominique Mayo, clearly is not here this week, this event. He's sort of typical of the guys that we want. They, finished high school here, decided they weren't further in education outside of Bermuda, and we want to keep them, and we still want to keep them in sport. So Shaquan Richardson is here. He's he's the same age as Dominique. He's 2 months older, and he's a potential contender in this race, and somebody who could do well given the that there are these big lumpy hills in this particular course. And I think 2 years ago he had the opportunity to do very well. 2 years ago he was in fantastic shape, and he just missed the opportunity. He played too defensively instead of attacking, and that takes a lot of guts to do that.
No.
So the same thing is going to, and then we have younger guys, but it is Deshai Smith is 22, but he's not at the level right now that he's going to compete with the front end of this race unless something like a big bunch sprint happens.
Right. When you talk about offense and defense, people are sitting up saying, what is he talking about cycling-wise? Break it down, if you can, what you're talking about, offense and defense, attack, as opposed to defending.
Yeah, I think, well, maybe defending isn't, because we don't have anything to defend. We don't have a goal or anything.
Right,
right. It's not like, somebody put their bicycle in my goal.
Right.
Which probably could happen, but anyway, you can go at these races. It's all very tactical, and I think most people assume that you go out and just ride your bike as hard as you can, and that's what happens. Because I think for most people who go out to run these events, whether it's a 5K or the half marathon on Wednesday, they go out and they try to do the best they possibly can, which is, I've done it run this event a couple times, and every time I was like, I wonder if I'm going to be faster than last time. And sometimes it was, and sometimes I wasn't. Right. But in the bike race, it's all about who won. And from what I recall, I never won the Make-Room for a Friend. So people, you can go at this waiting for other people to create the pace in the race and to accelerate really hard and try to get away from the rest of the group. and that's what I mean by sort of attacking, where you try to make the event happen, the race happen in the way that you want the outcome.
Right.
So that might be if you're really great at at going uphill faster than others, then obviously you want to put the maximum effort in that you can on the hills, at the right time, so that hopefully the rest of the race is either sitting there kind of waiting for something to happen, or possibly are very tired, which is not unusual from the direction we're coming this year. When you get back into down by the Christchurch, Devonshire, where they've come over all the hills and they think, okay, I'll just have to make it up to ZBM and then I'm all right. Well, that's a time when people are hesitating. That's a good time to attack,
go,
right?
yeah.
So that you can make that hard effort, and then everyone's caught by surprise. And like anything else, you think of traffic that gets backed up at say Sunday or driving in the morning.
Mm-hmm.
The first car, as soon as the gap, can drive away, and then the next one has a half a second hesitation, and then they go, and so there's already a bigger gap. Well, the car that's 10th or 12th or 20th behind, their gap is all of a sudden massive because of the reaction time. It sort of multiplies itself through the group. And then we see that in cycling as well. So if you're not near the front, your reaction time is much slower, because even if you see the front of the race starting to go really fast, if there are people right in front of you, you can't get through them.
Right.
So these are things that I think that tactically, this is the best way to approach the race. You have to be super wired, like literally eyes wide open, like, at all times, and ready to change your pace at all. And if you're someone who's going to make or influence the pace of the race, then you need to be that much more attentive, not only just to what others are doing, but where does this fit into my strategy? Oops, that changed my strategy, so I don't have that flip to plan 32 or whatever. It's complicated, but it's if you have a little insight into it, makes it a lot more enjoyable, I think, to watch, to see how are people reacting to those things.
Now, Peter, you and your co-partner the last couple of years, a great partnership in commentary this year and Inspire 105. They come on at 8:15. You've been involved in cycling for a number of years, both parties. What are you looking for from the future of this event, and basically from the females this year? Young Abby Arnold, Gabby Arnold won last year. She's going to be back to defend her title. So what are the expectations from the females department, and what sort of message you guys going to bring on 8:15 as the pre-race for the race? I think the race gets underway at 10 to 9 or
10 to 9. Yeah.
So what are you guys going to bring forth for our listeners to tune in on Inspire 105?
Well, I think first of all, having the live coverage is a great part of it, and it allows people who are maybe waiting or along the race course or at home who don't live along the race course to hear what's happening in real time setting. I think that we want to make sure that the coverage is lively. Greg's going to be in the car ahead of the men's race, and I'll be on the back of the bike ahead of the women's race. So both races will be covered equally. We have our great technology working this year for us.
Thanks to you.
Well, we're working out a couple things, but we've made sure that we're going to be using the mobile phone network. Probably, I think it's One Communications, so they've been helpful in testing that out, making sure that it's going to be functional for us, that we won't get interrupted with new microphones and such. And I think that'll give us a better product, so that there'll be less of that wind noise that kind of like sounds like you're in the middle of a hurricane. It's like the last thing you want to listen to is that in the background. So I think that'll at least give us a little more idea, Greg, of how the race is progressing. And Greg and I are working on how we communicate that most effectively to the audience. I think it's important to know where the race is, how fast they're going, who's contending, the important things that are happening during the race. In terms of looking at the women's race, which I've had the pleasure of either being the lead official or commentating for the last maybe 5 years or so, we have pretty much all of the top female riders would be there. It's never a huge field. I think there are a dozen women in the race, but it's Williams, Nicole Mitchell, Gabby Arnold, as you mentioned, Alyssa Rouse, who's still a junior, and though she's the only junior female entered for the race, she's obviously a potential contender in this in her own right to win overall. And there's been a bit of press given to Ashley Swanek, who raced a half Ironman this weekend. So if she was on form, she'd probably be pretty tired. But I think I saw in the paper she did very well in the event. So and Rosanna Hoey, who's another, I think she won the run one year. So we have those two kind of coming across to the bike end. And they, if nothing else, they'll add a lot of power to the race, and I think they'll. There's a tendency sometimes when you have a bunch of favorites, they all kind of look at each other for 12.78 miles, and they kind of gun it for the last quarter. Because there's a fear that they know that there are people in the same race who could catch them unawares or beat them, or roll away. But I think Rosanna and Ashley, as well as Sarah Bonnet, who rides in the three of them, and April Joyce, who they all ride on the same team.
Right.
So in theory, there's a Team Madison strategy, and I will have a front row seat to watch that, which will be exciting because if nothing else, they're going to put interject a little increased pace in the race, and then as I said, we have the four women who are also representing Bermuda at the Mat West Island Games in Gotland in another month and change. So they're pretty, that'll be exciting. Last weekend they raced as a team in our road race, which was the first time that the four of them have really had a chance to think about each other in a beneficial way in the race. Instead of like, how do I beat somebody? And I happened to be in that race, and I was, at the very end, watched them work on how they were getting themselves lined up for a sprint, and it was good to see. And I think they're come together as a team for this competition, which is very different from the way that we're expected and how we do race locally, which is usually for our own account.
No, you go.
More than likely, tonight is the team meetings, strategizing.
Yeah.
Who, how, what position they want to be in, and all that. What do you think those talks will be like tonight and tomorrow? Obviously, getting ready for Wednesday morning because decisions have to be made.
Yeah. Well, I think I told you before because what I think is probably right, but my view on that. But no, I think that people will go through a whole bunch of iterations, and unfortunately, it's. I suppose it's like any other chess game or any sort of battle that you go through. Things change that you don't anticipate, and or you didn't anticipate happening at that time. So all things being equal, it isn't all things being equal. And I think some of the teams, don't particularly have a pure team strategy. They want to go out and have a really great, fast, event, and so. They will be more reactive, but again, I think that the guys who can put who have demonstrated that they can race the front end will be the ones who create sort of the turmoil and therefore the opportunity for the race to unfold in their favor. One of the things for us is the big deal is that compared to most of our races that we have the full width of the road. The road's closed for the entirety of our event in both directions. So that's all public announcement. If you're a motorist, if you and there are marshals and police, and we have a police escort, etc. the whole way.
Right.
But usually we're confined to just the left lane,
right.
single lane for racing. So all of a sudden the road width doubles, so that means more people can be at the front, and it's easier to get around, and you can, you can cut corners and all these things that we're not allowed to do in our regular racing. So tonight, tomorrow, Wednesday morning at 8:49.
I don't think they're gonna. I don't think they'll be talking because no one's gonna want to let out what they've been talking about. So it's either gonna be tonight or tomorrow night.
Well, the
team
nice thing is on a 13-mile course, every square inch of it, and typically where things are going to unfold is where the road tips up. Where it gets where it's an incline. There's attacking on a downhill is pretty ridiculous here because there's always someone heavier and who can the guys who can go downhill
Come
real
right by
quickly.
you, yeah.
Yeah, it doesn't. That doesn't do anything. Now, I haven't looked at the details of the weather. If there was a strong wind out of the west, if there was a strong westerly breeze, and so headwind becomes an issue, well then, there's more opportunity for one person to get away
Right,
and,
right.
and capitalize on that, because then you have to have the whole field want to work together to chase them down. That's probably, so it's challenging, but then, so many things have happened. We've seen one year Dominic, Mayo crashed, turning onto Cedar Avenue,
Yeah,
right at Church Street.
And top of that grate there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And but the great's there.
Yeah.
65 days.
That's
a year,
right, that's
he knew
right.
where it was.
Yeah.
And the same. We
He
had
just
a crash
got caught
one
on the
year.
outside.
Yeah, we had a crash one year at the bottom of Queen Street.
Yeah.
I think Christopher Ria.
Yeah. Top of Queen Street too.
Top Queen Street. Yeah.
Yeah.
Garth Thompson went down
That's
there.
right. Yep.
There's this course is littered with the skin of Bermuda cyclists. But there are lots of opportunities to make the race. And I think that typically if there's a big group turning onto
Front
Church-
Street?
Well, I was thinking the Front Street interchange for this direction is challenging because they come middle road and have to make a left onto Court Street
Right.
and immediately
Right.
right onto Front Street.
Right.
And so it'll be totally strung out. Even if it's a group, technically,
They will string
it'll
themselves,
be
yeah.
a long skinny line because there's really not enough room. And then there are
You don't want to get caught on the wrong side.
no, and this, it's because also Reed Street is downhill for the most part.
Yeah.
They're coming from here,
Mhm.
effectively all the way down.
Right.
It's net downhill, so they're going really fast.
A couple of airbornes at that speed bump.
Yeah, there's a little speed bump there, but that's just one of those things they've been warned of that. They're
Yeah.
aware of that. You just have to be very careful. When you get to that, you just lift your front.
There you go.
Keep going.
Keep good.
Well, we do this. We do this frequently in other places. When, like on Saturday, we have a big group ride
Right.
on Saturday, and we go out to the dockyard, and there's a speed bump right at the
That's right.
entrance
Yeah.
to the dockyard,
Yeah.
and people hit it pretty fast. But you can actually jump your bike, you can
Right.
hop your bike over that.
Right. Right.
It's good.
Now, last question here. Coming out of St. George, obviously, new course, new record. Could you see those times getting faster this time around?
Yeah, I think people know. I think the last one it was fairly defensive. Very people were cautious, and they were didn't really think. Well, I'm sure they thought plenty, but people didn't know where's it going to unfold. We have a history of
The Summit,
the
yeah,
West
yeah,
Side, West End, and again we do that every Saturday, virtually every Saturday, so that we have a sense of where those best spots are. But I think that you'll probably find it faster. There are a number of guys who are very strong, and I would, there's a young guy, British guy who's lived here for about a year, Jamie Cousins, very powerful rider. If he can get himself over the first couple hills, he's highly motivated, super aggressive rider,
Right.
and great handling skills, can make it through the fits and pounds fast. Whether he has a great result or not, he will contribute most likely to the pace of the race
Right,
overall.
right.
And I think that's a good thing. And there are other guys, Arthur Pitcher, Clifford Roberts, who basically are riding for McQuinn. They're teammates of his for Bicycle Works. They're going to want to contribute to make sure that their guy stays in, and so they need the group to stay together, which means they're going to have to try to control the front end, or people
Right.
getting off the front. The longer the group stays together, the better chance Quinn has, and that goes for a number of other guys.
Right.
If you bring 12 people to a bunch sprint, there are probably there are at least 12 different opportunities,
Yeah, that's
different orders, and we always say to our team, whether they're the kids or young people that I work with, or the older ones, like, you never take a sprinter to the finish line, because then your odds of having success are going to be diminished greatly.
Right.
So the guys who go uphill fast are going to have to get rid of the sprinters early, and the sprinters have to do what they can to keep the race together so that they can finish in the sprint. And and so I think the interesting. I was working on the prize money table today to make sure that it's all in the right spots, and looking at what the possibilities are. We have really 4 categories: open male, which is 19 and older; open female, 19 and older, and then junior male is 18 and under, and junior female. So we know what's happening with junior female, the open male, and that would be interesting. We have podiums for those. But I was looking at, there's a possibility we could have the three fastest could be juniors.
Right.
And so the open male podium, which has money associated with, might be like fourth, fifth, and sixth.
Yeah.
But effectively, they're getting some
Right.
quality payout for it. So I just, we've got really kids. Connor White, who's 18
Yeah.
this year. I mean, he's pushing the front end of that A race.
A-race, yeah.
And when we're talking about McQuinn and Gary
Gary,
Rayner
yeah.
in the Bs, but Connor's doing it in the A's.
Yeah.
And I think that he's got a lot of power. He's not matching Matthew and Caden at the moment, but you get him to the top of Cedar Avenue, that bus gets moving.
Oh, yeah?
He's a pretty
That's
big
great.
guy. He's very
Right.
tall, and he's
Right.
got a lot of power on him.
Yeah.
So, that's another person who could be in there. And Ziani Burgess, he can surf
Yeah.
through anything. I mean,
Yeah.
I don't know how he weighs all of nothing, but but he has his ability to put himself in the right place.
Right.
And I don't know that he has enough power to finish like in a group sprint.
Right.
He's on junior gearing, which I think we've explained in the past. But
Yeah.
juniors are only allowed to ride with let's call it an engine capacity up to
Yeah.
a certain size.
Yeah.
And so in order to get faster, they have to pedal
Pedal
faster,
fast, yeah.
as opposed to just going with harder gear. And but these guys have had a really great season, and the start to the season. And this happens to be the big public event, but of course, the rest of our season is just getting going.
Yeah.
And we're going. We have a team of 10 cyclists going to Gutland to the Iron Games.
Mhm.
We have 3 cyclists who are going to Commonwealth Youth Games, which is going to be super exciting.
Right.
And then we're still waiting on confirmation for Junior Caribbean dates. The same group that went to the Green Mountain Race in Vermont, later, which is over Labor Day weekend. We're going to have those guys plus a few more I
Right.
think, this year. Then we're looking at, I don't know about World Championships, it's kind of a long-term goal, and then we have Elite Caribbean Championships
Right.
in Martinique in October. So tons of stuff. And there's some Caribbean mountain bike race.
That's
Caribbean
right.
Championships
That's right.
which we're
Yeah.
going to,
First year, first time.
last year was the second one they hosted. Last year was the second one, but it was the first time Bermuda was represented.
Right.
Robin Horsfield last
Right.
year did well, and he was fourth.
Yeah,
fifth
fourth,
in his category.
yeah.
And whether or not we push that again this year, I think Robin. Unfortunately, Robin's not in this event. I mean,
Mhm.
Robin's got a good engine on it,
Yeah.
and I think that he could have quite a bit of success on the road. I know his focus is mountain biking and probably.
Cooks it into, yeah.
Well, I think you got to do what you want. You got to
Yeah.
find, in running sport, you always got to do what's happening. He's off to university this fall, so
Right.
that'll change that picture. There, so.
Well, Peter, we have to go now, and we got some more guests coming in. I know it's time to drive.
I know. Well, I'm sorry. Once I start yapping away about that,
we have no problems listening to you. I mean, all the stats, all the information, the history in your sport.
Oh, yeah. I was going to say, speaking of the history, I should mention our podium presentation for Wednesday. We're actually going to try to do it in Cedar Avenue in the middle of the season, right after the last junior classic runner goes by, and before the leader of the half marathon. We're going to do our podium We're going to pull open the gates, put out our podium, and make our prize presentation, because there are 1,000 people on Cedar Avenue, and also we have our prize presenters this year. Last number of years we've tried to bring in guests as presenters. We've had Sinclair's daughter, and 1 year his widow, and then from our sponsors at Highland Spring. But this year we have the 3 Bermuda cyclists who represented Bermuda at the 1984 Olympics in Los Angeles. So Earl Godfrey, Clyde Wilson, and Buddy Ford will be our prize presenters.
Okay.
So it just it actually ties into the parade theme, which is our sporting heritage.
Okay.
That was
Wow.
it is
I know.
and total coincidence, but I'm like
When did you find that out?
at the meeting on whatever.
Wellington May, right?
Pardon?
Wellington May.
Oh yeah. I
Yeah.
mean yes.
Yeah.
I'm not playing politics.
Me
on that.
neither. I'm just.
But I only found it, but it's something that we've been working. We're trying to make the event, grow aspects of the event.
Right.
We'd rather put our podium in the middle of the people, so that the people are going to be the ones who saw it finish.
Yes.
The people on Cedar Avenue.
Yeah.
So let's give them the chance to recognize
Sure.
our event winners. But I think it's a great theme for the parade.
Mhm.
And, you know, the fact that it ties into what we're doing.
Right.
I don't know which is first, but I'm gonna say that we were the idea first.
Okay.
But the parade people, you know, from Community and Cultural Affairs,
Mhm.
we're happy. We had an event planning meeting, you know, with the half marathon people
Right.
the other day. And, it's all good.
Cool.
It's all positive.
Well, again, tune in on Inspire 105 on Wednesday at 8:15. There's Greg Hopkins and Mr. Peter Dunn. They bring you a pre-commentary race just before the race, which gets underway at 8:50 a.m. Again, you can listen to all of the pre-race and live commentary 8:50 a.m. on Inspire 105 FM. And we'll bring it to you. I'm looking for a great event. It's always been a great event in this sport, Peter. It's so good to see the crowds when they participate and watch and cheer you guys on. You know, we see riders throughout the island in different spots, and then we see the big group now and then at the end of the fans and all this. But this time they'll be out there supporting you guys coming out of the east. And of course, there's recruiting new kids. You know, I'm getting it. So hopefully that brings some more to it again for you guys, connect you and for you guys. We wish you all the best. And of course, we want to thank your sponsor, Highland Spring Water, for coming on board again.
Yeah. Great, from Butterfield and Ballas, Jim Butterfield. They're a great supporter of the sport, and you know, we even try to make our podium Highland Springy, so instead of champagne for the winners,
Right.
they get bubbly water, and there's
That's
a big
it.
spray of, you know, sparkling water across the road. And,
Good.
yeah, so it's good. They're a great sponsor, and you know, it works well with our event.
Again, it'll be on Wednesday on Inspire 105 FM Radio, 8:15 pregame show. Again, of course, live commentary, 10 minutes to the hour at 9, and bring it over to you on Inspire 105. Thank you very much, Peter. We're going to take a commercial break and we'll be back after this. Actually, we're playing both there.
Yeah, well, if not, the next people.
You are hilarious.
Quickly read that, if you can.
I like bring April in.
Celebrate our Bermuda heritage with our faithful residents and visitors.
All right,
Along with hundreds of Bermuda Day specials, we offer you the best in quality meat, fresh produce,
I'll look at it.
Okay.
I'll send, there are two out there.
Oh,
If there,
okay.
if there was,
She's gonna
if a
send me
small animal
she's
is,
gonna send me a video and a picture, and I'll forward it on.
yeah, if there were some, I'm sure there were guys out this morning, there are gonna be guys out tomorrow morning.
Yeah,
you know,
yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
But apparently it spilled into the road. She's saying, yeah.
You wouldn't make the amount of stuff that's going on the road? I went out for a ride yesterday afternoon. How long is that? Middle Road and Burnt House Hill.
Oh.
You know, the sidewalk, nothing doing, nothing. When you live out that way,
Yeah.
that way.
Yeah.
You go by today? Perfect. Like I went yesterday, they're finishing the work.
Oh, yeah.
Yesterday afternoon.
Yeah.
How about this? Okay.
I'll be in touch with you by tomorrow. All right?
Yes,
Yes, yes. We did a test. Yeah.
Hello.
Thank you very
How
much.
are you? Hi. Oh, the blue you guys didn't let me
I
know.
gotta be. I was supposed to be somewhere.
Sorry.
It's okay. No worries. He's going to the opening of the marina.
Oh yeah.
You see what I sent you? That audio clip? Did you listen to it? So Brock was spoke to entity this morning.
Oh, okay. Then I haven't checked it.
He spoke in the house in December.
Uh-huh. Oh, this was on Friday.
But it was all factual. I shouldn't say extended.
Well, I'll have to listen to it. But
For 20 minutes.
he and what's his name? The other one. They warned him 13 months ago that you need to step down and you need to change your direction, and if not, then we'll step down.
I'm still.
So, yeah.
Got the intro?
This segment of Inside Sports
Sorry.
with your health and wellness is presented by Energize Wellness Solutions.
And welcome back to Inside Sports Talk Radio. We just had the president of the Bermuda Bicycle Association on TV, let's say in studio, Mr. Peter Dunn, giving us highlights from what's going to happen at the end of St. Clair Catholic Memorial Cycle Race. Of course, this year coming at least second time in its history for the association. And again, you can listen to them on Inspire 105 at 8:15 a.m. Then the live event gets underway at 10 to 9. They're bringing some new starting out of the Thomas and Georges, and of course, making its way Hospital Town and the one Cedar Avenue. And of course, the big thing is it's going to do a pride presentation on Cedar Avenue, so the crowd will be there to share the winners on as well. That will be exciting. joining us now in the studio is none other than April Challenger D. Shield. Good afternoon to you.
Good afternoon.
You got a big smile on your face. Must be a holiday coming up, huh?
No,
Anyway,
I always
Always
smile. Even when I'm tired or upset.
Full of smiles.
Always
I
smile.
try to always greet people with a smile.
Yeah.
So I'm going to put it out there, right? You know,
Mhm.
I'm like you, go to the gym every day.
Mhm.
This is the funniest part, right? My gym was crowded with snow.
Mhm.
And I said to the people, and on Saturday too, I said, so what are you guys doing? You guys used to come like, one Saturday. Oh, May 24th. So my question to you, and Aaron knows if you're on there. I can't say that, but what the heck? You think that happened
In a few days, right?
But that's
How you gonna fuck your
that's
butt?
people's perception.
I know.
But that's crazy.
That's why I've been asking you, like,
That's
leading
crazy.
up to it,
Mhm.
what should people be looking for? What should they be doing? Because
Mhm.
their perception is, and I said this a few weeks ago when we first started talking about May 24th, you'll have somebody today decide, man, let me go sign up. I'm going to run there. Ain't none a thing.
And you're right. You're right.
Get to Switzerland and not remember a word or a thing. Or, that's it. It's overdone because they haven't prepared themselves.
And you have to, you have to prepare, and you also have to listen to
Mhm.
your body.
Mhm.
You know, if your body is telling you,
Mm-hmm.
maybe I need to stop, maybe I need to walk a bit,
Right.
you know, and then gradually build
Mhm.
back up, then do that. Don't try to profile if you have
Right.
not been putting in the road work.
I remember
Yeah.
last week. I remember last week you were making comment about the amount of classes you attend,
Mhm.
but that's for someone that has been doing that gradually for some time and physically you can handle it. No, you got a cool, and you had to break it down
Yes.
because the body started saying, "Hold up, I need a little time."
Yeah.
For someone that doesn't do it on a regular, trying to say, well, I'm getting ready for May 24th, I'm getting ready for Carnival, but you're only giving yourself 3 weeks.
Right. And girl, it's happening.
Mm.
It is happening. I have people all the time telling me, no, I'm coming, but I'm coming closer to Carnival. I figured Carnival's a few weeks away. When
Yeah.
are you gonna,
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah.
Even my girlfriend, I'm gonna put her on blast because I know she's not listening. But every time she says, yes, girl, I'm gonna have to come to the boot camp with you. I'm gonna start doing some classes. And I'm like, She goes, but closer to the time, and I'm thinking, okay, here it is May now.
Closer
I
to
can't
the time?
even say it's the middle of May. It's the end of May.
Mhm.
Carnival's like this.
So why would people think that they can change their bodies within 72 hours or a week or whatever,
I don't get it.
Just to get in the mood.
Get it.
just to get in the mood?
No, they get themselves in the mood because they start to feel the juices of the holiday.
Oh.
Up until then, it's I'll get to it.
And
I'll
maybe
get
because
to it.
they think it's further away.
Yeah,
than
then
this.
yeah.
I mean, here I am. I was overdoing it, and still, this weekend, I had to just stop. Well, on Saturday, we did do a health fair at
Mhm.
Allen Temple.
Right.
So I was there, and we were out the whole day. But on Sunday, my body said, enough.
Right.
I had to slow down last week, because I told you, my body was.
Right.
Well,
Right.
I remember doing a yoga class, and it might have been the Wednesday, Thursday,
Mhm.
and in the middle of yoga, I just went down to what they call child's pose,
Right.
and I didn't want to get up, and I finally said, okay, my body has had enough.
Mhm.
I need to stop.
Right.
And poor Brooke, she was like, I'm sorry because of that move. I think it took you. I said, no, sweetheart, it wasn't the move. My body is tired.
Yeah, yeah.
And I have to listen to
Right.
it. You know,
Right.
I really have to stop.
Yeah.
So I've just not been doing any type of exercise
Mhm.
since I think Wednesday. Yeah.
Chance to
Wednesday.
recover.
Yes,
Yeah.
I'm trying to recover, but also on Sunday, Nelson opened up.
Mhm.
And I said, because I wasn't even going to open up because I was afraid that, I'd be lured into doing
Right.
the boot camp. But I couldn't get out of bed. And then I remembered I had run out of my iron tablets that I have to take twice a day.
Right.
And if I don't, before I used to be able to get away with not taking it for 2 weeks before I would feel it. But
Mhm.
now I guess as I'm getting older, I'm also exerting myself
Right.
a lot. By day 2, by Sunday, I couldn't get out of bed.
Right.
I was in bed all day long.
Mhm.
And so I'm, and I have my my iron pills now, and I'm taking it, but I'm also saying, okay, you know, rest
Right.
probably is just as good as exercise.
Right. Now I went cross. I ran across energized. I said I ran across,
Across.
and
got
I
you.
made
Trying to
sure.
look
I made sure
impressive.
I got
I
you.
crossed the street
Oh, you
and hollered out and hollered out to
You're
Nelson.
lucky I didn't see
I
you.
hollered out to Nelson, who was behind the desk. How you doing, brother? Keep walking.
He didn't tell you come join?
If he did,
If you were
I
on
blocked
the
that
other
out.
side, you
I
might
know.
definitely
Listen, I know what I'm doing. I know exactly what I'm doing.
I will tell him look out for you.
But the place actually a class was going on because I could tell, like I could hear
Yeah.
the noise in there. So and were people at the desk as well. So
Yeah.
business is
Yeah.
really looking as if
Especially
it's
on a Wednesday.
yeah.
The thriving seniors are Wednesdays are our busiest days. Marie offers a free seniors class on Wednesdays.
When you say seniors, what age group you talk?
65. So people, if you are not 65,
Man, I'm like one more year.
don't worry. Oh, yeah, right. Don't even think about it. People call me, oh, I'm 55. And I'm like, okay, we'll see you in 10 years. You know?
That's what they think. 54 and 65 like that?
Look.
So, but it's so. Back in January, I sent out a notice to Age Concerns and Bermuda Seniors or something. At Bermuda College, they have seniors there.
Mm.
I sent a notice to these 2 different places. They sent it to nursing homes and everything. And it's really, really picking up.
Mm-hmm.
And so on Wednesday, I was like, oh my goodness. And the ladies just kept rolling in,
Right.
I kept taking out chairs on the
Right.
front to put it out. And I said, oh, wow, you wait till you see Marie's face. But each week lately, it just seems to multiply.
Right.
So I videotaped the ladies and put it
Okay.
on. So videotape. But it's really, I mean, I'm pleased. I'm
Right.
pleased. So right after that class, then Marie does the urban walk.
Right.
And while the urban walk is going on, then there's body shred.
Mhm.
And right after body shred is core fusion.
Right.
So, and then after work at 5:30, we have Zumba. So Wednesdays are
It's a high intense
that,
day.
yeah.
I happened to go across. I was by by Butterfield Bank,
Uh-huh.
and the walk was on, and they came up to the
Yeah.
top of Burnaby Hill.
Oh, yeah.
I said, let me go the other way. Go the other way, yeah, because I could see Marie saying, "Come on, let's join."
yes.
No, and I didn't have my bag or my tripod.
Right.
I said, no, you can lure me into that there. No
Not
way.
busy carry?
Mm-mm.
Well, yeah, now
Mm-mm.
that's part of their route. They
Right.
will either lunge or squat going up Burnaby
I
Hill.
heard
Mhm.
about this.
Yeah.
This is prime time.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And even if Marie can't do the class, the ladies are so disciplined. They're like, it's okay, we'll do it. So they had a new person with them the other day, and they took her on the walk
Mhm.
class, Valerie Williams.
They
And
call the
she
names
loved it.
now.
Yes. So
Yeah.
she was out there with them.
It also, when people are doing that as a group,
Mm-hmm.
it also builds self-esteem as well, because you might feel as if, I don't want nobody to see me running, I don't want nobody to
Yeah.
see me walking,
And
but
some people do say
right. But then when you're with a group of people who are encouraging
Yeah.
each other,
Yeah.
you tend to take your mind off of
Yeah.
that. What's everybody staring at? What?
Right.
Or I'm gonna keep that smile on my face and keep running
Oh, yeah,
as much as
people
I would.
watch it.
As much as I want to go behind his hedge.
Exactly. Exactly.
Yeah, but to see that many people doing it on a regular basis, it's got to be something. Yeah, because as you've been always saying here, and I guess everywhere you go,
Mm-hmm.
it's not about. You don't want people to be on a strict diet. You want people to have what they want, but in moderation,
Yeah.
and still be able to do that and have exercise as well. If you
Right.
marry the two,
Right.
you could have a healthy lifestyle.
Exactly, because one of the things that Marie preaches, I've done all my life, not even realizing it. She talks about mindful eating,
Mhm.
mindfulness, and she'll talk some more on the first, the first week. And when she was explaining more about it to me, I was like, that's what I do, because it drives my daughter nuts, as well as my mom and family members, how slow I eat now. I think I eat faster now, but when I'm relaxed, I just like to enjoy my food. So she talks about the smell of the food. I love to inhale it. I mean, I love the smell of it. I like the feel of it. No, I love the feel of the food on my tongue. I just love the whole experience.
Mhm.
I enjoy my food. I cut it up so it lasts longer if it's really, really good. And Erie is looking like, are you for real?
Yeah.
I think I would drive you nuts. I like that expression.
Yeah. That's why I'm looking at you like this.
Yes, but I enjoy it. But I pay attention to it. And I guess the opposite of that is just kind of gorging, just
Right.
putting it in your mouth and swallowing
Mhm.
and not paying attention, or when you're watching TV and you're just not paying attention
Mhm.
to the food or the taste. And so what we try to talk about is being mindful, enjoying the experience,
Mhm.
not just because there are emotional eaters who will eat, but they're not necessarily, I don't think they're really absorbing it like
Right,
I am.
right.
They're just using it to fill a void.
Mhm.
And so we're trying to say, no, don't do that. And she can give you healthier choices. But when you do eat, enjoy your food. And I
Right.
enjoy my food. I'm telling you, it's bad. I enjoy food.
So it's a good thing she takes her iron.
Yeah.
I'm leave it like that.
Well, it's also a good job I exercise.
Exercise and drinks her red wine.
Hmm.
Yeah, I haven't had that in a while, but I do have my water every day.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Likewise.
Yeah, yeah,
Likewise. So you touched on two things which was important. That one, yes, nutrition,
yeah.
and two, why people try to train like 72 hours or a week before the event.
Mhm.
So then after May 24th, the next event is the big, the one in
Meet
June.
Heroes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Heroes, right?
Yeah.
The weekend.
So they'll
So
start
folks are gonna start like the week before,
Mhm.
which I don't get that.
Right.
And then I want
and try to last 4 days.
Exactly.
No sleep,
right? No sleep,
Right.
drinking.
drinking,
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
And the heat.
Yeah.
eat,
Sure.
recover,
So it's,
Sure.
it's just.
and then when it's all done, they say, you know what? I'm not gonna do this.
If the
right
old,
now. I'm
you
not
mean
prepared.
when they're done, because
When they're done.
a lot of them end up at King Edward, mate.
Right. And
You
so
see?
and we
Yeah,
don't,
man.
we don't
Wow.
want that. And,
Because
and
you working on what, 2 hours sleep at some point in time.
exactly.
You're out in the heat.
Especially for the last few days.
Right.
Okay, so they would have on the Sunday, I think, and there was having, probably a few people, they're having the breakfast fete
Mhm.
or just a morning fete, which is from done in the morning till afternoon. And then you might have some that's the afternoon
Right.
tonight, and then you're going to have Juve, which starts at some hour in the morning
Right.
until
2:30 or
some
something
hour
like
in
that.
the,
Yeah.
like around 8
8
or
in the
9
morning, yeah.
And then you have the parade of bands, which I think is probably at
1
noon. So
o'clock, yeah.
how much sleep are you really getting?
Not much.
And then if you're sleeping, I mean, if you're partying nonstop and you're drinking your alcohol, and then when you get in that heat, there's more alcohol, and hopefully people are drinking water in between. So, I was at another function a few Sundays ago, and I was like, look, you want to be able to enjoy the whole experience. You don't want to be laid out in your cute feathers, just passed out, because that's not going to be cute, that's not sexy. So prepare yourself. Just prepare. I would also recommend that you try to get sleep leading up to that at that time. But take your vitamins. Don't be silly like me. Take all the vitamins you need to take. Drink your water. Eat your meals, and all of the different functions, they will have food.
Mhm.
So eat.
Mm-hmm.
Make sure that you eat, you fuel your body, so that when you do have the alcohol, it's something there. There's nothing cute or sexy about puking, and
Yeah.
especially puking in public. You
Mm.
don't want to see that.
Yeah.
It's embarrassing.
Yeah.
That's not sexy.
Yeah.
It's not cute. I don't care, male, female, whatever age. That's not nice. You just see your face.
I can imagine.
You ever happened to you at the gym?
Go Europe?
Yeah.
No.
I felt like it.
Mm.
Once or twice, like if I hadn't trained in a long time, like just trying to get back into it.
Right.
But no, I make sure that nothing.
Just having a lot preseason when you're trying to
Get back in shape.
get back into it,
Always
and
make
you
sure.
actually go a little further than you would normally
Yeah.
go.
Nope.
So that I never used to actually do it, but I would feel like it.
Mhm.
And when Mal used to train me, she was like, "Okay, go ahead, throw up.
Mhm.
There's the ocean right
Yeah.
there, and then
Come back. Yeah, yeah.
I'm like,
Yeah.
okay, I will try. I'm not gonna. 'cause I
Coaches
always
used to
was
love
afraid.
seeing someone
Yeah, water.
over a trash can or over.
Exactly.
But the minute you finish, okay, come back. Because we ain't
Yeah.
finished yet.
You know why? 'Cause
Why?
they feel that they got you. Take it to
Oh.
the level.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Take it to the level. I got it. I got her. I got me.
I don't like that sense of that feeling of being out of control. So
Mhm.
I've always been one to be afraid
Right.
to go up. But I feel
Right.
close to it.
Yeah,
You know,
yeah.
and trying to talk myself like, okay, come on.
Get the water, dab it on your face, and the
Yes,
whole thing.
yes,
But once the
yes,
sweat starts, it's
breathe.
over. So
Yeah.
you're going past that point. Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
we're gonna wrap up now.
Mm-hmm.
It's been a pleasure with you, as always, every Monday. And I'm sure next week you can tell us how to recover after an event like this. You know, that's going to be important because people, they're going to be some people that will just cry ready for the weekend, which is fine. And they have the right to, but it's a recovery period.
Yeah.
And so I think we should touch on that, how to recover and how to better yourself as you prepare for the next occasion, which you said is in June there, obviously the big one match.
Yeah. And whenever you can, when you have opportunity to put on maps, whether it is in college or whatever.
Sure.
Just continue.
Mhm.
Thanks for
Okay.
joining us, and we'll see you next week. Enjoy your holiday.
I will.
Make sure you're coming down out of Somerset, right?
You know what? I'm thinking about it.
Yeah, we remind you. We'll definitely remind
And
you.
by then I should have some energized gear, so whatever I'm wearing, and my logo,
There
my
you go.
green on, and my green sneakers.
And your water bottle green with energized on this.
Oh yeah. Well, actually, I'll try not to cover it, carry anything. I'll just,
Oh, okay.
Yeah. But you know, and I'll drag Nelson out there too, so we'll be kidded.
There you
All
go.
right.
Enough about advertising.
Thank
There
you
you
very
go.
much. All
Energized
about
Wellness Solutions.
Can't do it in the backyard, but you can do it on the road.
it.
Thank you. We'll take a commercial break. We'll be back after this.
All right. Thank you, gentlemen.
No, thank you. Enjoy your holiday. Be
I
safe and sound.
will. My daughter doesn't know it, but she's gonna be getting community hours service.
Oh.
I just saw an email, so I'm gonna have her in the parade holding up the sign or doing something, but she
Oh,
needs her
okay.
hours.
Yeah, my
How
son's
old is
finishing
your
off here.
11.
Oh, she's too young for us.
She'll be grumbling, but.
Mm.
She needs them.
Yeah.
My
but then
son
I'm gonna be
finishing
running
his,
around trying to get it.
Today?
Oh.
Finishing his hours
Simon
today?
hasn't even started. She'll
Yeah.
be at 10.
Wow. All right.
Take care.
Okay, see you
All right,
later.
dear.
Yeah, finishing up at Purvis today.
He's doing community hours at Purpose. Okay.
It's uniform, man. Good. Okay. Well, let's wrap this up and
She has to put the bumpers in yet for.
You got to talk to her. I did. You told me to talk to her. Speak to her.
did that come back up? Did that come back up?
Yeah. Yeah, I came back out.
Okay.
Call Colonial on 296-3700 or visit
Hey, I'm gonna tell you this right now. If you
Okay. All right.
Time, more opportunities to win. All your sports betting needs without the races. Introducing Game Time East and Game Time West. Located next to Long Beach and St. George's and Main Road Somerset.
Well, for next,
Or Game Time now also open Monday to Friday 12 to 6, Saturdays 8:30 till 5, and Sundays 10 till 5. For more details, visit GameTime.pm or call 296-3444. Game Time. You play, we pay. Game Time is a socially responsible gaming establishment.
Now, back to Inside Sports Talk Radio. Inside Sports Talk Radio. On Power 95 FM. With host Jim Rowe and co-host Earl Beasley.
And welcome back to Inside Sports Talk Radio. That's our show for today, Mr. Basin. We wish you and all of Bermuda a safe and great time on Bermuda Day holiday as we say, kickstart our summer on Wednesday, May 24th, for the annual Bermuda, 108th annual Bermuda Afternoon Bermuda Half Marathon. There'll be 13
That's a mouthful.
And I said it again, if you want me to.
One more time.
Okay. Kickstart our summer on May 24th on Wednesday for the half marathon, 13.1 mile Bermuda Day, Applebee's Bermuda Day half marathon day. It wasn't that right. So yeah, that's going to kickstart at 9 o'clock, and of course, prior to that will be the St. Louis Festival, cycle race, 10 to 9. Mike Sharp and his team will bring live commentary at 8 o'clock on Power 95 on Wednesday, the pre-show for the race. 8:15, you join Greg Hopkins and Peter John on Inspire 105 for the cycle race. Again, Inspire 105. They will bring free commentary for the St. Louis Festival Memorial Cycle Race. That gets underway at 8:50 a.m. 10 minutes after will be the half marathon Derby for Northeast. So we wish all participants in cycling and running all the best. and we'll see what happens. Who's going to be first across line this year, 2017, coming on the East.
There you go.
Yeah, any final words, sir?
None at all. We wish everyone a good holiday and a safe one.
Okay, Mr. Don Bassett, thank you very much for being in control.
Sure, man.
It was a pleasure working with you.
Of course.
And you get to put your controls on Wednesday morning for Power 95.
Right now, probably around 7 o'clock.
All right, okay. Yeah.
Cool.
Thanks, listeners, for tuning in again on Power 95 on this Monday afternoon. Enjoy the rest of your day.